everyone, this is Colleen with yarnwars.com, and today I'm going to be working on a pattern that I recently posted in the group. I have a picture. Obviously you saw the picture on the cover of this. Just give you a quick look at this. This is the pattern we're going to be making, and it's called the Granny Square Vest, or Granny Crochet Vest. And this is from a 1970 magazine from Woolworth. There is no designer on this, so what I'd like to do is go ahead and do a video on the make of this and get it up on the website so that you have access to it. It's a fun pattern. I do have a picture that I will show on, you'll see it in the beginning of this video. You probably already saw it, and you'll see it at the end of the video of the one that I made and the one that I have worn, which was not so professionally modeled. I did not do a border on, but I did go back and make a border for it later. So maybe by the time this video is released, I will have an actual picture with the border. So just going to start real fast, and then we'll jump into this project by just showing you on the start of this. We start at the bottom, and we actually start by making 8 to 10 granny squares, depending on what size that you are making, what size vest you're going to be making. This is worked as a medium vest. I'm going to work a medium vest, and the medium called for 9 granny squares, which we work up individually, and then we just pin, we go ahead and attach them at the end. So we'll start working off our strip of granny squares. So the granny square is very simple. We'll start with that in the pattern, and then we work all the way up to our sleeves and all of that. And for this project, you are going to want a K-hook. You're going to want some scissors or snippers and a blunt needle. I am going to be using Red Heart with Love. I'll be using tan. This is tan, and the suggested hook size for the with love is K, so that's perfect for what we're doing. And like I said, this is tan. The color is actually called tan. So, okay, now I've decided I'm going to go ahead and switch this up a little bit and make my granny squares a different color, and then just work the soft in for my actual vest, and that might not look great right there. It's gonna look fine. So we'll go ahead and get started with our granny squares. Just a second here to get this out. So to start the granny square, we're going to use our K-hook. We're going to start with our slip knot. I just cross over, and I put my yarn up the back there, push it through. You can pull it through with your hook or your fingers, either way. I apologize, I have a cold, so my voice is a little off. Alright, so to start our granny square, we're going to chain 3. 1, and don't be real tight with your chains here. This 1, 2, 3, just to help you out a little bit. We're going to go into our first chain that we made and make a slip stitch to form a ring. So we just pull through, and you most likely already know the things I'm showing you here. Once we've made our ring, we are going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to work 2 double crochets into that ring. So we're going to go in to the center of that ring and work 2 double crochets. 1, and there's 2. Then we are going to chain 1 and we're going to work 3 double crochets into that same ring. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to chain 1 and work 3 more into that ring. 3 more double crochets. 1, 2, 3. So far we have 1 set, 2 sets of 3, and 3 sets of 3 because we're using that first chain of 3 as our first double crochet. And then we will do 1 more. We'll chain 1 and work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. And then what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1 and we're going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain that we made here. So we're going to slip stitch into this right here. It's going to be a little tough. Even as careful as I went into that and loose as I stitched into that, it's going to be a little tough. Alright. So this is what we have for round 2. And you could change colors at any point. But if you're changing colors here, you're going to want to change when you get to this corner. So here's our corner over here, over here, over here, over here, in between each of the clusters of 3 double crochets. So because I'm not changing colors, I'm going to slip stitch over to this corner in each stitch until I get to that corner. And I'll slip stitch right in the corner and move on to row 2. In round 2, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to start by working 2 double crochets into that corner. There's 1, 2, and then we are going to, hang on just a sec. Sorry, we're going to chain 2 and we're going to work 3 double crochets into that same corner. So remember that beginning chain in that corner counts as one of our double crochets. And we'll work 3 total double crochets. Alright. So we've got our first corner made. And then we're going to go, there's 3 double crochets there. We're going to move into this next corner here, and we're going to chain 1 in between our corners. And then we'll work 3 double crochets into our next corner. There's 1, 2, and 3. And then we'll chain 2. And that creates our point for this corner, and then into that same corner we're going to work 3 more double crochets. 2 and 3. So we've got our second corner, and then we've got our 3 double crochets in our next corner here. So we're going to chain 1, work right into this next corner with 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 more double crochets. So there's 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets, all into the same corner. We have 1 more corner left, so we're going to chain 1 and work our last corner of 3 double crochets, 2 2 chains, and 3 double crochets. So 3 double crochets, 2 chains, and 3 double crochets. We're going to, at the end, we're going to chain 1, and we're going to slip stitch into that 3rd chain up. 1, 2, 3, right up there, to finish off this round. Now we have our square, and we're going to move on to round 3 of our granny square. This granny square only consists of 3 rounds, so it goes very quick. As with our last round, we started in the corner, so if you want to change out colors, this is where you want to do it. We are going to always start in that corner for our granny square. So we're going to slip stitch our way into every stitch, which is 2, and then our corner to get to our starting position. All right, so for our 3rd round, we're doing basically the same thing as our last one. We're going to start by chaining 3, 2, 3, and then we're going to work, that's going to count as our first double crochet, just like our other rounds, and then we're going to work 2 double crochets, 2 chains, and then 3 double crochets. Oops. 3 double crochets. All right. Next we are going to work chain 1, and we're going to work 3 double crochets into this chain 1 space here from our last row. So we got 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to chain 1 and work our next corner. 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. And that's our second corner made, and then we'll work 1 chain. Coming over to this middle chain 1 space, we're going to work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and then a chain 1. And moving over to our 3rd corner, we're going to work our 3 double crochets. Chain 2 for that corner point, and then we're working 3 double crochets. Chain 1, and we're going to work our slip stitch into that 3rd chain up. 1, 2, and that's our 3rd chain. And that will finish off that round. And if I can find the other side of that chain. So we're going to slip into that chain. And at this point, what I'll do is I'll go into this next stitch right there, and I'll do one more slip stitch just to kind of lock it in place. I do a chain one to lock it even more, and then cut it off. Now you can actually, if you go over to the corner, and if you like slip stitch all the way over to the corner, you can actually leave a longer tail to connect your squares at the end, but I'm just going to connect them with pieces of yarn. So that is the simple granny square for you. Very easy. You want to make 9 of these, and if you are measuring your granny square, mine may not be exactly where I want it to be. Okay, when I block it, it will be. But you want it to be, and I am. Stretch it out a little bit. This is a different weight yarn here, so the Karen Simply Soft. So you want it to be at about 4 inches. Mine is just shy, but that's okay. It's going to work in just fine to my piece because it is a stretchy yarn, and like I said, once I do a quick block, it's going to be a little bigger anyway. But I'm just doing this to add a little different touch to my second one because I've already made one of these granny vests. So go ahead and repeat what I've done there. If you need to rewind, start over to watch it again, that's fine. But you want to make, if you're making a size small, you want to make 8 of these. If you're making a medium, you want to make 9 of them. And if you're making a large vest, you want to make 10 of these. And all of this is going to be on that written pattern. But this will give you, let's see, this is for the small is a 32-inch wide at bust line. The medium is a 36-inch wide at bust line, and the large is 40-inch wide at bust line. So go ahead and make the rest of these whatever size that you're making it, and then meet me back here, and we will move on to attaching our granny squares and then on to the vest. All right, so I am just joining my granny squares. I've got 9 finished. Not getting the whole view here. I've got a couple more to do. I'm using my invisible granny square join, which is a great join to use, especially on multicolored project. If you've got different colored granny squares and you're going to end up joining with a color that's not like one or the other, this is a great join to do. And I'm not really worried about making these perfect on the joins, just as far as making sure it's squared off at the bottom. I don't care about that because I can fix that with by doing a border at the end. But I will just show you quickly, and this is something I have a full video on, so I'm not spending a lot of time on it here, but just to give you a quick idea. My invisible join, basically what you're going to want to do is come in, this is the first stem, and you want to do this, basically your squares are going to go back to back. So your good side, your right side, and your right side are going to be on the outside, and you want to find this corner and this stem. So what we're going to do is we're going into the stitch right before the stem, right here, and we're going into the top of that stitch, and we're going just in and through the top. So we're trying to pick up a little bit of the fiber in there as well. Make sure that's on there good. And then we're going to pull it through. I've just measured out some pieces for my granny square joins. But then we're going to do the same thing over here. We're going to find that stem right there. So we're going to come in here and come up through here and pull through. And then we're going to work it kind of like a zipper. You want to go into the next one. This is the stitch that we came into this one with. So we want to come over to this next one, go just in and through. Remember to try to pick up some fiber, to go through some of the fiber of that when you're going in, because that helps to hold it in place. And then we're going to come over here, and this was the last place it went through, was in this stitch here. So we're going to come up to this stitch, the next stitch that has nothing in it, and we're going to go just in and through and pull it up, and we're doing this, like I said, in just a zipper format. So you're going to get this down. It's going to be super fast once you get the hang of this. It's just really an easy join, and it makes it, like I said, virtually impossible. When you get to the end, you do want to do your, your finish off so that everything's set in place, but I do want to show you quickly. Say I get here and I say, oh no, it's not even, because you want to try to line up your stitches as best as possible, but you say, oh no, it's not even, what am I going to do? I need to take it out. This is going to be difficult. Oh, no, it's not, because you could just pull it right out and start over again. So you want to make sure that when you're finishing it off in the ends that you're working to finish it off here and here. I'm going to go ahead and come back through and close that, and I'll show you how I finish off these corners. Okay, so I'm going to stay in close-up mode here so you can see. So I went ahead and got these back in place, and this is very sturdy. This is going to keep it together just fine, so don't worry about that. Just make sure that you're doing your best to try to grab, and when I say you're going through fiber, you want to make sure that your needle's actually kind of going through a piece of that yarn as you're going through, okay, so that it's holding in place. So when I get to the corners of this, I'll just start over here and show you real quick how I finish off my corners. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not spending a lot of time making sure that these corners are perfect because I'll be doing a border in the end. But when I get to the end, depending on what side I left off on, I'll come over to the other side and I'll just go one more in and through. In and through. Just grab a little bit, enough of that so that it kind of looks like it's squaring off for you. And then what I'll do is I'll put my needle through and I'll come back and I'll put my needle through there to make a quick knot through that loop. And pull it tight so that you don't see that knot. And then I take it to the back of my project and I just work it in through that seam that I just worked up. And that's how I hide my tails for this join method when I get to the end. So that's one side done, and then I want to do the same thing over here. And like I said, when you finish doing this a couple of times, you're going to race through these. This is such an easy join. I know a couple of people have asked me. I have a standalone video on this join, and a couple of people were concerned about it taking a lot of extra time. Well, anything is going to take me longer in a video. Unfortunately, when I get into explaining things, I talk too much. So, that being said, and if you need to go back through, like to the other side to try to square it off more, you can do that too. See how that looks nice. You can just give it a little tug so that you can get that shape back in there. And then again, I'm going to go right through the front and to the back to make a quick knot. Come through, stick my needle through that loop, pull tight so I've got a knot there, and then I come to the back here and I just work my tail right through that seam that I just joined. So it is not going to hide from me because I pulled it out before. It is that easy though, and you will have no problem. If you could do this join, you could do any other join. I just suggest this join if you are working with multicolor grannies, because it really does work well for that. So, okay. Okay, so now we are moving on to the body section of our vest, and we have all of our granny squares attached in a strip. This is the bottom section of your vest, and our vest is going to be worked up here this way on top of our strips. So we want to take the color that we're going to be working our vest, which I'm using this color, and I'm not sure how good or ugly this is going to look, but I'm going to use it anyway. And we're going to attach it to this chain 2 corner right here. of our very right side granny. And that's with the right side facing you, the wrong side facing away. So we're going to attach our yarn here, and we are going to chain 3. So 1. I like to work my tail up into my first chain, and I know that you don't have to do that, obviously. 2, and then I'll drop it there, and 3. And I'm working 1 double crochet into this same chain 2 space corner. Next, I'm going to chain 2. And I'm going to work 3 double crochets into this chain 1 space. And I'll come up, and I'm so sorry about all my sniffling here, guys. So we're going to work 3 double crochets. Okay. We're going to chain 2. And we're going to work 3 double crochets into this next one. Next chain 1 space. And my yarn doesn't want to work with me. Oops, that's lovely. I'll fix that shortly. Okay, and then I'm going to chain 2. I'm going to work 1 double crochet in this corner, 1 double crochet in this seam, and 1 double crochet under the chain 3 corner of the chain corner right here of this right side of our next granny square. So I've chained 2. I'm going to work 1 double crochet here, okay, and then I'm working 1 into the seam, or in my case, just because of how I did my join on the granny squares, I'm going to work this way, and then 1 right into that same chain space. So what it's saying to do is to work 1 in that first, and this is where we've connected our granny square. So work 1, and then 1 into your seam, which is a little difficult if you've joined the way I did, and then 1 into this next corner space, which starts the next granny square. And that's how you're going to work it all the way across. We're going to chain 2, and we're going to double crochet 3 times, and you can try to get it into that seam. It's going to be kind of difficult. We're going to chain 2. We're going to work 1, 2, 3. So in every chain 1 space, we're going to work 3 double crochets, and then we're going to chain 2. And then I'm coming into another granny square join here. So you can either work it the way they have it, 1 double crochet in your corner space. If you can work it into your seam, 1 double crochet into your seam, and then 1 double crochet into your corner space. but I am going to work 1 double crochet on the first part, that first corner, and I'm just going to work 2 double crochets into the next corner instead of working it into the seam. So we're going to chain 2, and we're going to repeat this all the way down. We're in another chain 1 space in our next granny square. We're going to work our 3 double crochets into that chain 1 space. And then we're going to chain 2 and work 3 double crochets into that next chain 1 space. One, 2, and 3, and then we're going to chain 2 and work 2 double crochets into that last corner space of that last granny square. Okay, so we have completed the first round of the body section. Now you can't get a real good look at it here. So now we'll go ahead and move on to row 2 of our vest body. Okay, so moving on to row 2 of the body, we are going to start by chaining 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to turn our work. So now the wrong side is facing us. We're going to start by working 3 double crochets into this first chain 2 space. And then we'll chain 2. We're going to work 3 double crochet into our next chain 2 space. This is going to be pretty much the theme for this row. It's going to be, the pattern is going to pretty much remain the same, but there's a couple areas you might want to pay attention to. We're going to chain 2. In our next chain 2 space, we'll work our 3 double crochets. Now here's the part where we split it up. If we were to do it the way that they said, we would have 1 double crochet here, 1 double crochet here, and we'd have 1 double crochet in the seam. So it'd be a little more together there. So you just want to pay attention because you don't want to accidentally work this in a 3 double crochet cluster here. So what we're going to do is we're going to chain 2. So if you did it the same way I did and didn't work one of them in the seam, we're going to go over to this space here, following that 3 double crochet, and work our 3 double crochet into that next section. Okay, so then we're going to chain 2, work our 3 double crochets into the next space. Chain 2, work our 3 double crochet into the next chain space. and then we'll chain 2, and we're going to skip this little space here and come over here because this is the connecting to our next granny square. We're going to work our 3 double crochet over here into this next. So you're going to go down this row doing that same thing till you get to the end. I will meet you at the end of this row, and you are going to make sure you work 2 chains. My apologies, my little guard dog, my harmless guard dog is at it again. But you're going to remember to chain 2 in between each of your 3 double crochet clusters. So just go ahead and work this all the way to the end of this row, and I will meet you at the last square for row 2 so that we can pick it up and I can show you how to end that. Okay, so we are at our last granny square here. This all out of the way here. So we're going to go ahead and work our 3 double crochets. Remember, we're skipping that middle section. And then chaining 2, working our next 1, 2, 3, chaining 2, and working that last square there, your 3 doubles. And then we're actually going to finish by chaining 2 and then working a double crochet in the top of our chain, our beginning chain from this previous row, 3. So you want it in the top of the 3rd chain that from your previous row. Okay, and so we have completed the 2nd row of our body. Now the rows are going to they're pretty much going to be as easy as this throughout. You're going to do a lot of repeating to grow this. We're going to go through row 3, and just for a little bit of difference that you're going to have in row 3. But we're going to start by chaining 3, 2, 3, and we're going to turn our project so we'll have the right side facing us again. And we're going to work 1 double crochet into this first space for row 3. Just 1. And then we're going to chain 2 and work our 3 double crochets. My yarn is fighting me a little bit. So I'm sorry, between all of the dog noises, dog drinking her water and barking at nobody, you guys should all have a nice little headache by now. So we're going to just do exactly what we did for our previous row. Chain 2. Into each chain 2 space, we're working our 3 double crochets. So go ahead and continue this on down, and we will meet in our final granny square for row 3 just to finish that up and to move on. Okay, so we are coming into our last granny square section, and we have just a couple left to go here. I chained 2 already, so we're going to work our 3 double crochets. Chain 2, 3 double crochets, chain 2. Okay, so when we get to the end of row 3, we've got this little turning chain here. We are going to, because this is so far back here, we're going to do your last chain 2 right here. And we're going to only work 2 double crochets right into that turning chain. So right into that space. Like that. And that completes row 3. All right. So From this moment on, you are going to be repeating rows 2 and 3 for the rest of this pattern. Now, to make this easier on you, so that you don't have to keep going back if you forgot something in one of the steps, I am going to put the repeat rows in the description below so that you can follow that in case you get mixed up in the beginning or the end of one of those rows. So if you need to get a quick recap on that, make sure to go down to the description below and you will see the description, which will give you the rows 2 and 3 details, and you're going to work rows 2 or 3 until you have a piece that measures approximately 16 inches or your desired length. If you want it to be a long piece, then you're going to work it a little longer, but you're going to work it to where you're right under your arm. That from your underarm down is how long it's going to be. So you want to make sure that that is grown to the height that you want it. At least 16 inches. So go ahead and complete that. And when you get to the end of the length that you desire, we will meet back up and move on to row 4. Okay, I just thought I'd go ahead and jump back in here so I could give you a little more of a visual. The part we've done, okay, so here are the granny squares, and this is what we're growing. And we want to grow it to right about there, right under the arm area, which is where we'll start picking up with the rest of it with the sleeves and all. So it's from here to here that you want it, you know, to be the length that you want it to be. And you'll continue repeating rows 2 and 3 to grow it to that length. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so by now we have grown this to the length that we want it to be. You want to make sure that this measures at least 16 inches up to the top row. Mine is more than that, and I don't have my measuring tape here to show you, but forgive my voice, it's in and out today. I went ahead and tried to pull some more of the orange in, and I did my last 1, 2, 3 rows in orange. And hopefully you caught that last note at the end of the last video. You want to make sure that you end your growing row with row 3. Don't end it with row 2. So make sure you get, when you've gotten it to the height that you desire, that it ends with row 3. And then we move on to row 4. And this is where we go back to our sizing, and if you have the pattern, which hopefully, as I mentioned, I will already have up on the website, and then a downloadable PDF that you can print off at our Facebook group. And let's see, and that just a quick, the Facebook group link is also down in the description below. For row 4, I'm pulling my tan back in. I've already cut off my orange, so I'm not going to be working with that anymore. My arms are going to be done in tan. So I don't want to make this confusing at all. I'm going to try to flip this out of the way. And then I'm working here at this point. One thing to remember is that we're going to be making, this is the front, and our front arms are going to be on the right side of our project. And you'll be able to tell better what your right side is at this point by looking at your granny squares. You can tell the difference between the right side and the wrong side on your granny squares. So the armholes, or the front, we're working the front armholes. So moving on to round 4, like I said, I'm going to pull in my tan. And I just pull that right into my orange. Let's see if I can zoom in just a little bit. And I will, one thing I do that just to make sure I'm secure on this is after I get past a few stitches, I will tie a knot, a hidden knot where I'm up under this stitch so you can't see it, just to keep that a little better in place. But we're going to chain 3, 2, 3, and remember guys, this is row 4, and then we're turning our work. I got so much going on here, I don't want it to get confusing here. We're turning our work. We're going to work 1 double crochet under this first chain 2 space. Just 1 double crochet. And then we are going to chain 2. And we're going to work our 3 double crochets into our next chain 2 space. And we are going to do this depending on how many or what size you're making. For instance, I'm making a medium. If you're making a small, you're going to repeat what we just did here, making chain 2 and then 3 double crochet in the next 2 more times if you're doing this for a small. I'm doing it for a medium, so that's 3 more times for me. And let's see, and then for a large you're going to do that 4 more times. So we've done our first, and like I said, because I'm doing medium, first we'll chain 2. I'm going to do this 3 more times. I'll be making 3 more 3 double crochet clusters. So we're going to go 1, chain 2, and then 2, and then chain 2 and 3. This will be my last one, my last repeat. And you'll see your repeat starts with where the asterisk is. Okay, so this is going to be for my first arm space. And what we're going to do to end this is we're going to chain 2, and we're going to work 2 double crochets into this last one. So we're going to go 1, 2 chains, and just 2 double crochets. So this is what we have for row 4. So for row 5, we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to turn our work. We're going to work 3 double crochets under this first chain 2 space. So we got 1, 2, 3. And then we are going to chain 2. And depending on what size we're working this for, which mine is medium again, small, you're going to do this 2 more times, medium 3 more times, and large 4 more times. We're going to work 3 double crochets. So I'm going to work it 3 more times because again, I'm doing a medium. And then a chain 2 after each one, and this will be my second repeat. And chain 2 and my third repeat. And then we are going to work two more, or chain two, and we're going to work two more double crochets right here into our last chain two space. And this is where we are so far with our arm. See if I can do this without the whole thing there. That's where we are so far. So for row 6, we are going to chain 3 and turn again. 1, 2, 3. Turn our work. Gonna be a lot easier for you not having a camera in front of you. Gosh, forgive my voice. We're going to work 1 double crochet under our chain 2 space, and we're going to chain 2. We're going to work 3 double crochet in the next chain 2 space, and chain 2. If we're working a small, we're going to repeat this one more time. You'll do 1 more 3 double crochet. If a medium, we're going to be doing it 2 more times, and a large 3 more times. So I'll repeat it 2 more times for a medium. Chain 2, and here's my second. And then we're going to work our chain 2 and 2 double crochets into our last chain 3 space. Or, yeah, actually, which is our turning chain here. So you're going to work 2 double crochets into there. Like that. You can see how this is a little bit scalloped over here, and this is going straight. So now we're going to begin our repeat row. We'll be repeating the decrease of rows 5 and 6. These last 2 rows that we did. If you're working a small, you will repeat 5 and 6 only 1 time. A medium, you'll repeat 2 times. And for a large, you'll repeat the rows 5 and 6 3 times. So we'll chain 3 after we've completed row 6 the first time, and turn our work. So moving on to row 5 again, we're going to work 3 double crochets into that first chain 2 space. I'll try and move this stuff out of the way here. 3 double crochets. We'll work a chain 2. Now if you're small, you're going to work 1 more set of 3 double crochets. For a medium, we're going to work 2 more sets of 3 double crochets. And for a large, 3 more sets of 3 double crochets. So we're decreasing by 1. We want to have 1 less each round. So since I'm doing a medium, I'm going to do 2 more sets of 3 double crochets. And then a chain 2 and my second. And then I'm going to chain 2 after, and I'm going to end this row with 2 double crochet in the last chain 2 space. So again, for small, you will have worked your first set of 3 double crochet, your second set of 3 double crochet, and then you'll be working 2 double crochet into this last chain 2 space for you. That's for small. If you're working a large, you're going to work 1 more set of the 3 double crochet, and then your 2 double crochet will be in the last chain 2 space that you have. Now we're moving to round 6, so we'll go 1, 2, 3 and turn our project. And for row 6, we are going to work 1 double crochet in this first chain 2 space, and then we'll chain 2. We are going to work 1 set of 3 double crochets, and this is for medium. And for small, you will not work any more sets of 3 double crochet. For the medium, we will work 1 more set of 3 double crochet into this last chain 2 space. It's getting confused there. You'll always work that chain 3 first, or the 3 double crochet first in that whole deal. So for small, you're going to work your 3 double crochets, and then you're going to end with your 2 double crochets at your turning chain after your chain 2, which we will, on a medium, work a chain 2 in our turning chain. And that is where we are at right now. Okay, small, you are finished. You won't go on past this repeat row. Mediums, we'll do this 1 more time. And large, you will have 2 more rounds of repeats. So for the medium, we are going to chain 3 and turn our work, and for the large as well. We are going to work 3 double crochet under the first chain 2 space. We'll chain 2. We'll work 1 more set of 3 double crochets into our next chain 2 space. We'll chain 2. And then we are going to work for the medium, we're going to work 2 double crochets into that last space. Large, you'll have 1 more set of 3 double crochets before you do your chain 2 and 2 double crochets. So that's where we're at for medium. We'll chain 3, turn our work, we're going to work for around, this was, give me just a second here. So this is row 6. This will be medium, last row. We are going to work 1 double crochet into that first space, chain 2, work 3 double crochet into the next, chain 2. If you're working a large, you'll work 1 more set of 3 double crochets. And for us medium working pattern, we are going to work 2 more, just 2 in that last turning chain. So this is where I end for medium. And you'll notice the scallop edges here. Large, you're going to work 1 more of the repeats. You'll work 1 more round of row 5 and row 6. And so if you need to catch up, you can go ahead and pause your video, work up your last 2 rows. Remember to decrease by 1 set of 3 double crochets for the last 2, and pause the video if you need to, and we will get started with row 7. Okay, so whether you're working a small, medium, or large, by now you should have reached the end of your decrease rows with the alternating row 5 and 6. And so now we're moving on to row 7 and 8. So from here, what we're doing is we're growing the armhole, that sleeve, we're growing up. We want it to measure for a small, approximately 7 inches. For a medium, approximately 7.5 inches, and 8 inches for a large. So what we're going to do to start is chain 3, and then we will turn our work. We will work 3 double crochet into that first chain 2 space, regardless of size, for small, medium, and large. And then next we will, because we should be pretty much at the same area, just a little smaller widthwise for small, medium, and large. So we've worked our 3 double crochet in our first chain 2 space. We chain 2, and we will work 3 double crochet into our next chain 2 space. And then we'll chain 2, and we will work 1 double crochet into the top of our turning chain. Or, I'm sorry, you could work it under that chain. So, this is our turning chain here. After you chain 2, we'll work 1 double crochet in that turning chain area. So that's where we are after row 7. For row 8, we're going to chain 3, turn our work. We're going to work 1 double crochet under the first chain 2 space. And we'll chain 2. We'll work 3 double crochet into our next chain 2 space. We'll chain 2, and we will work 2 double crochet under our turning chain. So that is where we are after row 8. So from here, you are going to repeat rows 7 and 8 until you've grown it to the size that you need it to be at. From here up, you want it to be, like I said before, 7 inches approximately for a small, approximately 7.5 inches for a medium, and approximately 8 inches for a large. So, so for where we are at now, I'm going to measure from the start of that armhole, and I'm at just a little over 6. So I would work probably 1 more round for a small, 2 more for a medium, and then 3 more for a large maybe. So large, you may be able to work just the same amount as medium. It just depends on your tension here. So let's see. So go ahead and repeat that until you've reached those desired heights. And I'm going to go ahead and put the repeat rows for the armhole. So you'll find the armhole repeats down in the description. I'm going to have a couple of areas where I will put repeat rows just to help you out in case you don't have the written pattern. This will be all around a lot easier for you probably if you do get the written pattern, which will be available on the Yarn Wars website or for download again in the Yarn Wars group on Facebook. So go ahead and repeat those 2 rows until you reached 7 inches, 7.5 inches, or 8 inches, depending on the size you are making. And I will meet you back here where we will begin working on our other side for our arm. Okay, so at this point we have completed our first arm. It's going to be a little shaky, I'm sorry. But I just want to give you kind of an overview, and you're not going to get a whole overview because mine is pretty big. But we are moving on to the next arm. Now your next arm, I'm just going to suggest, I'm going to go ahead and get you started, but I would suggest going back in the video. I will do my best when I'm going in to edit this video to mark what time frame you want to come back to complete this, just in case you don't have the written pattern. Because we're going to do the same exact thing over here as we did over here, only instead of starting on the right side, because if you, oh wait. Give me just a second. Okay, so the side that we started this way on was here to the right side. And so for this side to match up, we are going to flip it and connect in here to this top of the 3rd chain over here. All right, so I'm just going to cut off a little tail here and get you guys started. This is on my other arm. Just so I'm going to make it long enough so that I can use it to work in my other side. So to start our other armhole, we are going to attach our yarn to the top of our chain 3. And basically, this is where our last was left off. So we want to attach to this chain right here. I'm just going to go ahead and put my hook in there and attach my yarn, pull that through. Just a second here. It's a little tight. And I'll just chain 1 up to lock that in place. But I will chain 1 on the correct one, not the tail. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1 just to lock that in place, and I'll pull that tight there. But we're going to start by chaining 3 and going back to round 4. So to start this one, we are going, like I said, back to round 4 or row 4, and we are going to work 1 double crochet under our first chain 2 space. And then we're going to chain 2. Back this out. We'll work 3 double crochet under our next chain 2 space. Chain 2. And then if you are working a small, you are going to make, you're going to chain 2, and then you're going to make 2 more sets of 3 double crochet. If you are making a medium, you're going to work 3 more sets of 3 double crochet. And if you're making a large, 4 more sets of 3 double crochet before you end row 4. So we're doing large, or I'm sorry, we're doing medium. I don't know what I'm doing from one step to the next. Sorry, guys. So we're going to work 3 more sets of 3 double crochet and chain 2. That was 1. There's 2. And there's 3. And then we end row 4 with chain 2 and 2 double crochet under the next chain space. And that ends row 4. Okay, so like I said, from here, you're working this up the same way we did on the other arm. You'll work row 5 and 6 after this, and then you're going to work your repeat decrease rows of 5 and 6. So remember, as we're decreasing in this arm, and then we'll come up here to 7 and 8. But go ahead and finish this arm, and we will meet back to finish our back space. Okay, so here is the top of these are our armholes. As you can see, they match up perfectly. I would say almost perfectly. I only did 2 rounds myself of rows 7 and 8 to get the height that I needed for medium. Just remember to measure it. Make sure that you are within those sizes, the size ranges for whatever size that you're working on. And so we have completed round 7 and 8, and we will be moving on now to the back. Okay, so we are here right now, and I'm going to do my very best to explain what we're going to do at this point, because we are working on the back part of our sleeves, our arms. And basically what we're going to do, according to the pattern, we want to leave out 2 chain spaces and 3 groups of 3 double crochet. So basically we are going to be attaching, if you look at this is already used. We're not counting this one. So that's in this chain 2 space right here is where we are going to attach our yarn, because this gives us from our arm, from our front arm section, this gives us 1, 2, 3 sets of three sets of 3 double crochet and 2 chain spaces. So this is where we're going to join on this side. And so what might make it easier for you is if you put a little stitch marker in there just while you're getting things straightened out, so you can visually see all of this. And then come over to this side and do the exact same thing. We want 3 double crochet clusters and 2 chain spaces. So this is the chain that will start our next one. Okay. So I'm going to see if I can lift this up. And you're going to probably see all of my other mess here. Just try to ignore it. I'll move some stuff around here. Okay. So for where we are right now, I'm going to raise this up so you can see. So right now, this is where we have our arm space. This is our length away from our other arm. So we are going to remember that where we attach our yarn is going to be 1 space, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if we come over here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then, let's see if I can set this down. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So as you see, both sides are going to join right here. This is where our both sides of our back arms are going to be. So they're both going to end up in one direction or another. They're both going to share this last space right here. So if I was unclear, basically I'm just counting the spaces that we used for this arm, because that's the same amount of spaces we're going to use for this arm and for this arm. And that was 6. So here is the other factor that you want to take into, hang on just a second, okay. So you want to also remember that we want to start the opposite way that we started this, because we want our scallops to line up. So we want our straight edge to be here. And so that means we're starting on the opposite end of this. So what that means is we need to count over 6 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we will join here and begin this arm right here. And I hope that makes sense, because if you look at this side, we joined our yarn here and we started on the opposite side for row 4. So this one, we are starting on this side for this back arm. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get situated, and I'll show you what we're going to do from here. Okay, so I'm going to try to do this in the least confusing possible way here. On this side, and one thing I didn't mention is we do have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 chain 2 spaces that we have used in this, but we didn't join. That's like a separate section where we joined. So when we come over and do this, we have exactly the correct amount to the center of our next arm, our back arm pieces. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to go ahead and join our yarn here, which I've already done, at the 6th. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. We're going to, in that same join space, we're going to work our first double crochet. After we chain 3, work that same space, which is going to be the same space for this other armhole over here. So basically we're going to want to push those over, and we'll be sharing that space with the other side. Okay, so then we move on and complete row 4 by working our next. We're going to chain 2 after we made that first double crochet, and we're going to work our 3 double crochets into this next chain 2 space. And then we're going to chain 2. And like we did it before in row 4, if you're making a small, you are going to make 2 more sets of 3 double crochets. I'm making a medium, so I will do 3 more sets of double crochets, and a large will do 4 more sets of 3 double crochets. So we've already chained 2 after that last cluster, and I'm just calling the 3 double crochet clusters. So that was our first for a medium of 3. 1, 2, and then 3. Oh, I'm having a not so easy time here. All right, so 3, I'm gonna make this tighter here. And then we end row 4 with a chain 2 and 2 double crochets into that last chain 2 space. All right. Now what we are going to do, I'm going to move this around a bit here, so and so I don't give you all a headache. I'm going to do that off screen here, and I'll pop right back in. Okay, that's better. So as you see, the back of this arm is going to be here, and we joined over here. We joined on the opposite side for this, but we're joining on this side for this one. And then we just finished row 4. So for row 5, we are going to chain 3. We are turning our work. So now we're working this opposite side. And for row 5, we are going to work 3 double crochet under our first chain 2 space. We are doing the same thing we did on the other arm. So I'm not going through this whole arm section with you. Because I already have the arm section on or recorded for you to go back to. But I'll do this row, and then you can continue on with row 6. Let's see, we did 3 under the first chain 2 space, and we chained 2, and we're going to repeat this on a medium. We're going to repeat this 3 times for round 5. So 1, 2, 3, and chain 2. So that's our first set. This is where you'll stop if you're working a small. That's our second set for a medium. And our third set. And you will work one more set of 3 double crochets for a large. And then we're going to chain 2 and work 2 double crochets, into that last chain space. Okay, so now you see the same thing that we were doing with our other arms and how that's growing. So you're going to want to move on to row 6, and then remember you're going to repeat and do a decrease on 5 and 6. So I will point you in the right direction in the video for rows 5 and 6, and moving on to 7 and 8 to finish this arm. So I've just finished this arm. This is the back arm. So as you see, they're worked in opposite directions so that when we put them together, they come together the way they should. And then we'll seam it at top. So we finished this side. You can take that stitch marker out if you like. And we move on to this side where we want to do the same thing. So as you see on this side, we started on this side of our project. So we're going to flip it to work the other side. And remember, we counted out 6 being from our stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, sharing the same chain 2 space. So we're actually going to join here on the opposite side. I'm going to flip that over. we're going to join our yarn here. Grab it real fast to get you guys started. All right. Oops. And I'm grabbing both, just, I don't know if you see this or not, but the tail as well, just because I'm joining in a chain space, just to make it a little more secure. I'm grabbing both for that first chain up, and then I'll drop the one and just work my next 2 chains, or 3 chains, because that's just my joining chain space there. And then we're going to work our first double. If you remember how we did on this other side, we worked our first double into that space. And I want to work it over the tail. So I'm going to redo that, sorry. Okay, so we've worked that too, and now we're going back to row 4. So we started row 4 with 1 double crochet, and then chain 2, and then we'll work 3 double crochets into the next. I'm just going to get you started, and then I'm going to let you go on from there, so you don't have to listen to me through that. Chain 2, we're going to work 3 more. Remember, 3 more times for a medium, 2 more for a small, 4 more for a large on our sets of 3. So we have the first one that we made that's in the pattern, and then where the asterisk starts is where we start our repeats. So we have 3 repeats for a medium. And so that's our first of the repeat. And that's our second, and our third. Okay. So we've done our repeats. This was a part of the pattern before the asterisk, our 1 double crochet and our 3 double crochets. And then it said to do a repeat of 3 for our medium, 3 double crochets, or 3 sets of 3 double crochets. And then we chain 2, and we end with 2 double crochets in our last chain 2 space, which is right where our stitch marker is, row 4. So I'll move on to row 5 real quick. To get you started, we're going to chain 3 first and then turn. I just turned first. It doesn't matter really. So for row 5, we're going to work our first chain 2 space is going to be 3 double crochets. Okay. So there's 3 double crochets, and that 3 double crochet is right where our asterisk starts. Okay, so we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to repeat 3 times for a medium on our double crochet clusters. So we're going to do 3 more. Chain 2. That was our first. This is our second. And chain 2. And our third. My yarn keeps getting caught on something, sorry. And then we're going to chain 2. And we're going to end our row 5 with 2 double crochets in that last chain 2 space. There we go. So we have completed row 5. I'm going to go ahead and set the time frame on that so that you can continue on with this. You're going to do it the same way that we did the other arms. So finish this and then come back and we will move on from this round. Okay, so I have completed all of the arms, and as you can see, this is the way it's going to be folded this way to stitch it up. And from here, it is pretty much gravy. We're going to work a trim around the whole kit and caboodle, and then we're of course going to stitch up the top. I'm going to make sure that I'm on my right side of my project. And remember, like I was telling you, you could tell the right side by your granny squares. Make sure that that's on the right side. And I'm going to go ahead and do my invisible hide this way. So, well, I'll start from this one because this is on the right side. Because I want this to be on this side. I'm going to start by coming over to this side, opposite of my tail. And I'm going in. And I'm just going in through that fiber and up and through. That's the top of my stitch. Okay? And then I'm going to come across to the other side and do the exact same thing. I'm coming just in. You want to make sure that you're going through that fiber that connects these two stitches and through to the other side. So just in and through. So this is the stitch our last one went through, ended up on. So we're going to come up to this stitch and go in and through again. We ended on this stitch, as you can see, coming through here. So we're coming up to this stitch and going just in and through. And this will give you a flat and an invisible join. It's perfect for granny squares. Perfect. Like I said, I have a standalone video on this. And you will be so happy if you're using this on a blanket or something that you need to connect sides to, because it's very secure. And it's just all around, just gives you a better end product. So I'm coming to the end. Let's see where I'm at. But you just pull this tight. I just pull it over and then kind of a couple of times so that it's just, oh, it looks like I missed a stitch. Did I miss? I did miss a stitch, didn't I? So I am going to come back through the opposite way. Since this is the right side of my project, you can see that's flat. And nobody's going to be able to tell that's a seam. I mean, not unless they're really looking at it. But then at this point, I know I missed one of my stitches here. I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to pick it back up here. I'm going to flip this over. And then what I'm going to do on the opposite side, this is the inside of my vest. I'm going to hide this tail and making my arm sleeve a little more secure by just weaving into that top and then across to that side. And I'm going to do this all the way down to the other side. Oops. So we ended here. And come back through here. And through here. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I hope so. I'm just trying to add a little more secure to my sleeve connect. So I ended here. And I'm just going to come up here. You don't have to do this part. You could just You can join this however you want to join it. This is just my way of doing it, and I think that it works really well. If you want something really secure and really hidden, this is a great one. I'm going to pull this back through and come over here, back into my project. And then I know it's tacky probably to a lot of you, but I always finish off my project with a little bit of a knot here. This one I need to get rid of. But this is my ending tail, and I'll just come up here real quick because this is the underside of it. This is the wrong side of my project. I'll just do a quick knot and then just hide it in a little bit better through my sleeve. And this is the nice thing about the inside of this, is that you could come back through and hide it straight into this top section and just be done. I got quite a few tails. Okay, this is just the other side of the tail, but as you see, I got a nice secure arm piece, and this is going to stay together. It's going to stay put. And then you're just going to work this tail in a little bit and then cut it off. But that's what you're going to do, and repeat that to this side. What I would do is, since it's on these, or on this side, I'm going to flip it, and yes, I have very long tails, sorry. Flip it this way. And then I'm going to start with this back stitch, and I'm going to start over here and go stitch, 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 all the way down, and do the same exact thing that I did with the other sleeve. So go ahead and finish this up, and we will meet back here for our border, and then we are finished almost. We just need to make our belt. Okay, so I will see you in a bit. Okay guys, I am personally running out of the yarn, my tan colored yarn, and I don't think I have any more. I haven't gone through all of my buckets, but I thought I'd go ahead and get you started on the finish of this, which is the border. And as you could see, this ends with scallop edges. So if you're working the pattern the way it shows, you are going to work a scallop border around the entire vest. So that would include your granny squares, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to get you started so that you can do this. And basically what you're going to do, this is the right side of my project. This is going to be the outside of my vest, the one that will be showing. And this is the right side of my vest. So basically, this is all the part that will be showing. I will start over here at the very right side, and I will join my yarn. You can just join it actually in any space. You could join it. And I'll just join it right here so I can show you. But I'm going to pull mine out, like I said. So mine is not going to have the same border, and my other one I made did not have the same border either. I just bordered part of it. So because of lack of yarn, I won't be doing the whole thing. So I'm just going to chain. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by working one single crochet into my first square there where I joined. Okay? And drop that tail. So one single crochet. I just doubled up with my tail, so don't worry about that. Just join your yarn and work one single crochet into this section. And then what you're going to do is you're going to reach over here, and you're going to work 5 double crochet in the next space over. So we're going to reach over here and work 5 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then I'm coming over here with 1 single crochet. And then into my next space again over here with 5 double crochets. That's 4 and 5. And then right into this space right here with 1 single crochet. And you're just going to go on and on and on through your entire vest, creating a scallop edge around the entire vest. Remember, 1 single crochet in one space and 5 double crochet in the next. And you'll do that until you've completed your full border. If you want to do it just like the pattern. Like I said, I'm going to pull this, and I am not going to put a border around my whole thing. Now, in the time that I actually get this posted, it is possible that I will have found some more tan. And in that instance, I will go ahead and border this, but I'm not really concerned right now. So, I'm moving all of this out of the way because I'm just doing the finishing touches on this vest so that you could see how we're finishing up so that you can finish yours. Really easy stuff. So for your belt, and this is the part that goes up around the waist in the picture. Let's see, right here. The belt that comes around here, it's just a tie, and we're making this very, very simple. What you're going to want to do is you're going to make just depending, and you're going to want to just wrap it around your waist until you feel comfortable that it fits around your waist and you could tie a little bow in it. All right, so we're just going to make a slip stitch or a slip knot, and you're going to chain, and you're going to chain it until you've made this the length that you need it. And then you can come back down. You could do this. This is how I did it. I just came back down and worked single crochets. Or you could work slip stitch all the way down. You can work just a slip stitch in each way back down your chain once you've got the right size for your chain. And that'll make it actually a very nice width. Or if it's easier for you, you could just work single crochets all the way down your chain to finish your belt. But you want to make that belt however it works for you. So just go ahead and continue your belt until you have the size that you need to go around your waist or the top right under your chest area, and enough, like I said, to have a little bow to tie it off on the end. Go ahead and do that, and then you want to go ahead and pause the video, and when you unpause it, we will come back and just do the full finish off. Okay, so I have finished my vest, but not the border. I have finished my belt, which is longer, I'm sure, than 24 inches. So what we're going to do from here is, when I look at the picture, I see that the belt is right pretty much on this point where we start going up for that neck area. So just right above here, or you could go one down here. And I think I'll go one down. Basically, all we're gonna do is we want it to tie on the outside, so we're gonna pull one end through, and then just make sure that you're going in a straight line across in that row that you're starting in. And for me, it's this top row of orange. And I'm just gonna go in and through. In and through. In and through. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to move mine down one. And I am going to be modeling this when I'm done, hopefully. So I'm going to do it here, one down from there. So I'll be doing the middle line of my orange, the second row, and just going through in and out of all of these. Hopefully this wasn't too complicated for you. It's a very simple pattern once you figure out what you're doing in certain areas of it, but it's a very cute vest. It's a 70s vest. So this vintage 70s vest will look good with a lot of different outfits. And I'll show you her picture one more time so you can just get a good idea of how she's wearing it with a black dress. You can wear these with pants, with a blouse, lots of different things. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and all the information you're going to need, description and repeat rows that I went over with you, are going to be down in the description area down below, and just click on that and you'll also find a link to our group, our page, our website, and all other fun social medias that you can connect with Yarn Wars. But do definitely come by and see us, and I hope that you'll subscribe today. I've got a bunch of new fun free patterns coming out. I'm going to be doing more video tutorials on some vintage items, and so this is just the tip of the iceberg, and I look forward to working more with you. Have a great day, guys.